I don't know how long they're gonna last, but I see leaf packs in my future, so. Welcome to today's video, guys. Today we're back in the office, and now if you're new, the office is where I come and I lay down some serious Tacoma knowledge. Today I want to be talking about some budget added leaves I put on my truck. Now I've had these on my truck for about a month and some change right now, and they have been performing really well. I wanted to hold off to make a video before I really got a good chance to use these and make sure that they're good before I let you guys know about them. So I had a few camping trips, so I did a good bit of off-roading on these, a good bit of road miles. Honestly, I feel comfortable now talking about them and letting you guys know that this is an awesome option. The added leaves I'm talking about here are the Torch 1.5 to 2 inch added leaves. Now this is for the 3rd gen and 2nd gen. I do believe they work on the 2nd gen. I'm pretty sure they're exactly the same. I haven't checked, so I'm guessing, but they have to be because it's like the same truck. Anyways, so that's the added leaves that I put on, and I got them right off Amazon for $73. Honestly, that's a great budget compared to some of these other added leaves that you can get. Now, you do not get U-bolts, and you have to reuse those U-bolts. Now, some people don't like that. Some say that the U-bolts are one-time use. Whatever. Let me know in your comments what you think, if you feel comfortable reusing U-bolts, because I reuse them and I'm fine. I did retighten them and torque them down twice between my after I reinstalled them, just to make sure everything was settling correctly, because those new Torch springs are pretty stiff, and with the pressure in that, I wanted to make sure that it was really torqued down into spec. Now, I pride myself on this channel of trying budget options for building a nice Tacoma. I think a lot of these companies are overcharging, and then the influencers and or other people out there are getting these products at a discounted rate, or they just have more money than the normal dude. And so you think by looking at their trucks that you need to spend a dumb amount of money on your truck to make it do what theirs do or look cool. Well, I'm here to tell you that you don't need to spend all that money, and I'm here to prove it to you by putting all this budget stuff on my truck and testing it out. So that's right, I put $73 added leaves on my truck, and I have been overlanding, I have been camping, and they've been performing well. I did an off-road test. And I love the way this truck felt. Now I'm running the 5100 Bilsteins also. So I got Bilstein 5100 with the TRD off-road springs in the front, and I got Bilstein 5100 in the rear with that added leaf. Honestly, it's working fantastic. The balance, it sits up a little tiny bit higher in the back than the front, but that's by design, because that's kind of how I wanted it. Because I always drive around with the rooftop tent on and the bed rack. Now, driving around with that extra weight, I didn't want it to sit in the front higher, because I think that just looks silly. I'd rather the back sit up higher. And then when I put all the weight in with all my extra gear and mountain bike stuff, and when we go out, on adventures, it sits completely balanced, which is awesome. It looks good, and it still performs really good off-road. Now, I know, it's silly of me to think that you could put cheap $73 Amazon parts on a truck, but you know what? I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna continue doing it. And they say buy once, cry once, but what if you have to buy once and it's a budget? And that's what I'm here to show you guys, that you can spend money on cheap stuff. Now, I don't even know if I would consider this cheap. All it is a spring. Between the install was a little bit rough. You have to grind down a bolt. You have to, split the leaves apart. It's kind of a headache compared to some of the other options. Like a leaf pack, it's kind of boop, you're done. But I think these perform really well for the extra added, 30 minutes of work that you would have. I didn't have all the proper tools when me and my dad did this in the yard. For one, we were doing it in the yard. Right there's a problem. And for two, we only had one good vise to push the springs up down. So we were using a cheap Walmart one, and that one actually bent. But you know, we got it done and it's been performing really well. 100 miles on road, a good bit of miles off road. I went on 3 camping trips, fully loaded the truck with me, Ashley, a dog, bikes, all kinds of stuff. And it's been holding up really well. It's not sagging and it performs really well. I was worried about the rear end being stiff, but compared to my TRD Sport Springs, and now that I have the Bilstein 5100s, I honestly think they're softer. The whole truck feels a little bit, like a good bit softer than my TRD Sport setup. Now, compared to the TRD Off-Road, and I know what that feels like, I've driven my dad's, he's got a stock TRD Off-Road. It is stiffer than the TRD Off-Road, but for me, I like that because it feels better on the road, and you know, most of your time is spent on the road. Now, if you're liking this video, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button, hit subscribe, drop down a comment, let me know you're liking this video because it's good feedback for me that you guys are liking this budget content, so I know that I can keep putting money in this truck. Now moving forward, I think this setup is obviously going to be performing better than if you did like a lift block in the rear. You're going to have a spring back there, but you're not going to get that same performance if you did a full leaf pack. Now I did see some people complain that, you know, it's stiff in the rear. I haven't seen that, but I'm used to my stiff truck from the TRD Sport. Now I think this setup is fantastic for the budget-minded enthusiast. If you're just trying to lift your truck up but you still want good off-road performance, I think this is a great setup for you. It's not hard to do, and if you're just trying to lift your truck up, the Bilstein 5100s paired with this Adeleaf, this Torch 1.5 to 2 inch Adeleaf, honestly, 10 out of 10, I would do it again. Truck is doing great. And with the off-roading I do, I'm not going to Moab, I'm not sending it every weekend. I'm just doing some average like off-roading. I have not came across any problem and I haven't hit anything that this truck can't handle yet. Now the Torch 1.5 to 2 inch Adeleaf kit is gonna end up getting a 9.5 out of 10 on my mod list. I think this is a great budget mod, and if you're on the fence about spending the big money or the little money, I say spend the little money because I'm having no issues with it, okay? And I feel confident to let you guys know that this is a good Adeleaf kit for you. Like I said, I went through the paces, used it for a month before I even wanted to talk about it, because if I don't want you guys to spend money and end up breaking something and be like, oh, this guy said that it worked good, it didn't. Like I said, it's worked good for me, 100 miles on it so far, and I have no complaints. Now if you're liking this video, I just made another video going over all of the mods on my truck. It's right here, you can click it, check it out, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one.